have no idea how he did not kill this guy. So one of my favorite sayings is, when you're dumb, you gotta be tough. And this story I'm about to tell you is a perfect example of that. This story starts with a guy named Fred, who is our trucking supervisor. Fred is married, but Fred likes to wander, and it's pretty well known that that's something he likes to do. Fred's office is located in the call center at corporate, and there's about 6 females who work in this call center, taking hundreds of calls a day. Fred's behavior, for the most part, was fine until at one point his cell phone number started to change. A lot. Over the course of several weeks, you would call him on his original cell phone number that he's used for years. He'd miss your call, but then turn around a minute or two later and call you from another number. Seemed a little weird. He'd tell you, oh, well, this is just my new cell phone number. I'm going to get rid of that other cell phone number, so save this one and call me on this number. Okay, no big deal. Couple weeks go by. He does the same thing. Changes his number again. You call the old number, he misses the call, calls you back a few minutes later from a new number. Strange behavior, but people do strange things, so I didn't think too much of it. I got a call from one of our district managers. Now, I'm going to call this district manager Bob. Bob is a very laid-back guy. A lot of people like to describe him as a big teddy bear. I've never seen him yell. Just a real even-keeled, calm guy. Bob has a longtime girlfriend that he is raising 2 children with. Unbeknownst to us, the call from Bob was to let us know that we had actually hired his girlfriend several months prior to work in the call center. He never told us that we had hired her. She never told us that she knew anybody who worked for the company. Now, technically, this is a violation of company policy, but we didn't really get too worked up about it because their paths don't really cross. He's in the retail stores, she's in the call center. Maybe they talk to each other every once in a while on the phone about an issue with a customer and employee, but not really that big of a deal. So I think that's it. You know, okay, I can handle this, I can address this, not a big deal. But there was more. I guess Bob had become suspicious of his girlfriend, that maybe she wasn't being faithful to him. He told her one weekend that he had some friends coming in town and they were going to go hang out, have dinner, you know, catch up, things like that. So he goes out to meet up with his friends, but in reality he actually didn't have anybody in town. He wanted to come back and check on her, so he leaves the house for an hour or so and decides to come back and see what's going on, see is she doing anything. You know, are his suspicions correct? Is she actually being faithful or not? He pulls back up to the house and sees a car in the driveway that he doesn't recognize. He proceeds to go in the house and finds his longtime girlfriend in bed with the trucking supervisor, Fred. At this point, Bob completely snaps. He grabs a hammer and goes after Fred, the trucking supervisor. Not only does he go after him, he actually hits him multiple times in the head with a hammer. I have no idea how he did not kill this guy. And I guess Fred didn't want his wife finding out, so he never called the cops. He just runs out of the house, jumps in his car, and takes off. Now, Bob is so concerned about his job, he doesn't want to lose it. So he tells us about the girlfriend, tells us about the assault that's taken place, but he wasn't charged with. But his biggest concern was he didn't want the trucking supervisor cutting his stores off and negatively impacting the sales in his stores. So he just wanted to make sure we knew what was going on and could look out for him. To this day, Bob still works for us, and Fred still works for us. Bob's girlfriend has since left. Bob and his girlfriend have parted ways. But it is definitely an example of when you are dumb and step out on your wife with somebody's girlfriend who works for the company, you never know how they're going to react. And you better be tough if somebody's going to hit you in the head with a hammer.